years old is Ataev, 32 for Viktor Nemkov. Nemkov with the 4-inch reach advantage. Lilian Garcia starts another light heavyweight quarterfinal off inside the PFL Smart Cage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the intros, the PFL would like to give a huge shout out to MGM Resort International for hosting the PFL Playoffs. Their hospitality has been absolutely incredible, and we definitely look forward to coming back next season. And now it is time to continue the light heavyweight quarterfinals. This is brought to you by SeatGeek, where you can score the best deals on tickets. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. He specializes in combat sambo. Standing at 6'1", he weighs in officially at 206 pounds. In 35 professional bouts, this veteran has a record of 28 victories and 7 defeats. He is the number 5 seed, fighting out of Stadiasko, Russia. Here is Viktor Nemkov! His opponent, fighting out of the red corner. He is a kickboxer. Standing at 6 feet tall, he officially weighs in at 205 pounds. In 24 professional bouts, he has a record of 20 victories and 4 defeats. He is the number 4 seed, fighting out of Dagestan, Russia. Here is Bozigit Ataev! Your referee in charge, Jason Herzog.
Jason Herzog will monitor the action inside this cage. Ataev in the gold trunks, Nemkov in the silver. Light heavyweight quarterfinal action, 2 5-minute rounds. Remember, it is fight twice, win twice for a chance to advance to our New Year's Eve championship at Madison Square Garden.
Now Nemkov is going to have to be offensive, throw a lot of jabs, get some reactions out of Bozigit if he wants to set up the takedown. But you got to be cautious because, like I said, Bozigit has a whole lot of power.
As we mentioned, pretty significant reach advantage for Nemkov, who has used his jab successfully in his early regular season bouts. But can you do it against a skilled striker like Bozigit Ataev? There's that spinning back kick attempt from Ataev. This one rewarded with a takedown. Nemkov on top, goes to the body, and then throws a left hand up over to the jaw of Bozigit Ataev.
Now, Nemkov was selling us wolf tickets, telling us that he was going to get into a striking battle with Bozigit because he'd die for that takedown, and that's the smart thing to do. Take the fight where you know you have the biggest advantage, especially with the format they're fighting in tonight.
Ataev battling, has the butterfly, double butterfly here, and double underhooks. Will it be enough to get Viktor Nemkov off the top?
Good job by Bozigit. That double butterfly is very hard, and it makes it very hard for the man on top to do damage.
Promising first sequence there for Bozigit Ataev. Despite sustaining a little bit of damage from the bottom, he's back on his feet, which is where he wants this fight. Once again, Nemkov dives down for a takedown attempt. They trade knees.
Good spin by Bozigit, not allowing himself to have his back on the fence, control the position.
Another knee from Nemkov.
Now Bozigit should try to make that turn one more time and disengage. This is where Nemkov wants to fight. He wants to be in these tie-ups. He wants these opportunities to slow Bozigit down and drag him to the mat.
There's that Bozigit drops Nemkov and he puts him in big trouble. Grounding pound from Ataev. Herzog right on top of the action as Bozigit Ataev passes the legs and rains down heavy punches from the top, but Nemkov somehow surviving. Another left hand from the top, and Ataev takes a more measured approach, trying to split the guard.
Ataev has to be very careful in this position, in that open guard. He doesn't want to get up kicked.
Ataev backs off, Gestures for Nemkov to stand and come back into his world. Let's take a look inside Bozigit's clothes.
Take wide, don't rush, don't rush. Take your time. Just like that. Move.
Couple of right hands landing there for Ataev. PFL lightweight in the corner of Ataev. Hunting more big strikes. That left hook just missed the chin of Nemkov. Nemkov's still in trouble here, Eve.
Yes, he is, but he's taking some big shots from a big puncher. He's still standing there in front of him. Shows a lot of heart and a good chin.
Ataev stepping back, taking a breath maybe. There's another big right hand.
Nice little counter by Nemkov, slipping out of the way, landing a short shot. Not a lot on it.
The number 1 seed, Emiliano Sordi, watching this one. He will face the winner of this 4-5 matchup.
Now we see that Nemkov really wants that takedown. He shoots the takedown naked just now, meaning he put nothing in front of it, and that's the easiest takedown to defend.
Ataev pushes Nemkov back against the cage. Another encouraging moment for him, stuffing a takedown.
Good
1
head.
minute remains here in the first round of this quarterfinal bout.
Good head position by Bozigit, but he's got to get himself out of it. Good job by getting to that front headlock by Nemkov.
45 seconds left here for Bozigit to extract his head. Turns off the cage, catches a kick, and dumps Nemkov to his back.
Nemkov's looking to get to Bozigit's back, but Bozigit blocks. Good job.
Nice work by Bozigit, isolating the left arm of Nemkov to step over. Nemkov able to recover his closed guard. 30 seconds remain here in round number 1. So an interesting turn of events here. This round developed from a takedown for Nemkov. Bozigit Ataev able to stand back up, gets a knockdown on some heavy ground and pound, almost finished this fight. Nemkov has survived. And now here we are at another ground exchange with 10 seconds remaining. Ataev says stand back up. Sean O'Connell and Eve Edwards back cage side, and here's a replay from the first round. I can't tell if that was a knockdown or Nemkov was trying to drag Bozigit into his guard.
You know, with the power that Bozigit has, I would call it a knockdown. But right here, both these men, there's a beautiful trip by Bozigit Ataev. He's showing some of that wrestling that he's been working on, but he's been in the top position most of the time when these guys have engaged on the mat, and that's where he wants to be, if that's where the fight happens.
Round 2 here in quarterfinal action in the light heavyweight division. The first of 2 bouts for the victor tonight. Fight twice, win twice for a chance at $1 million in a PFL championship. Ataev circling around the outside of the cage. Nemkov in the gray trunks taking the center. Another jab for Nemkov. Bozigit rushes in with the jab, thinks better of it. Nemkov then answers with his own. Low leg kick there from Bozigit Ataev. In the big exchange in the first round, Eve, Ataev was throwing some heavy, potentially finishing shots from the top position. Sometimes when you go for broke and you don't get that finish, you can be fatigued the rest of the way.
Yeah, you can get very winded after really, really pushing the gas, but Bozigit, he's prepared for this. I'm sure he's prepared for this, so he's got to recover and get back to his positions that he wants and landing the big punches from the outside.
So far in round 2, 1 minute gone, and Nemkov has been the more active fighter. Worth noting that the number 1 seed, Emiliano Sordi, got in and out of this cage in his first bout in about a minute, Eve. So a lot less energy spent for him in his quarterfinal bout.
Yeah, like we talked about at the top of the hour, you want to get in and get out quickly and avoid injury. And Sordi did everything that he needed to get ready for the semifinals, while these 2 men are in a battle of attrition right now, with Nemkov trying to work for this takedown and Sordi and Ataev trying to get himself back to the open right here. He needs to land big shots right here.
Ataev doing a good job of circling off the cage here. Not very offensive here in the second round. Measuring it out, waiting perhaps for the big right hand. We have not seen him let the right hand go. There he sends it to the body of Nemkov. Jab misses for Nemkov.
It seems to me that Bozigit is starting to try to time that jab slip and maybe working a counter.
Once more into Bozigit Ataev.
Keep your hands up.
Corner.
You gotta move, you gotta work.
Бозик, подними ручки, Бозик.
Keep your hands up.
Встречай его.
2.5 minutes. Meet him with the right arm.
Not a lot of action so far from Ataev, and it's almost exclusively jabs before that takedown attempt from Nemkov.
Now this is an opportunity for Ataev. If he can defend this takedown, he's got to put some pressure back on Nemkov immediately. Throw a combination off of this break because he has the power to do the damage. Nemkov's doing exactly what he needs.
Nemkov goes to work with the left hand while still holding the leg of Bozigit Ataev.
Keep him uncomfortable.
Eve, if you're Bozigit Ataev here, you got to address one or the other. Do you block the hands or do you get your leg back?
For me, I recommend getting the leg back because now he can move, he can circle himself off of the fence and get out of this stalemate position or from being held in this spot.
Excellent position here and pressure from Nemkov, Viktor Nemkov in the gray trunks, coming in off back-to-back regular season wins in the Professional Fighters League, both of those by decision. 90 seconds left here in this quarterfinal light heavyweight bout.
Now Bozigit had a strong first round, and remember last season with the first round being the weighted round, the fighters really pressed there. But Bozigit has to put some pressure now because what the judges are going to remember is the last things that happened. And if Nemkov is winning at the end, it's kind of like the schoolyard rule, right? Who's winning the fight at the end?
The tiebreaker in season 2, officially, if a quarterfinal two-round bout goes to a draw, the judges are asked to judge an overall winner, the fighter who did the most damage or was closest to finishing the fight. Inside of 1 minute remaining now, Bozigit Ataev misses a right hand. Another jab lands for Nemkov.
And Nemkov needs to do exactly what he's doing right now. Stay on the outside, tie up with Bozigit when he can. But what Bozigit should do is put a combination on the body and then bring his hands back up to the head. But he's got to do it in combination.
Another takedown stuff there, at least for now, by Bozigit Ataev. Nemkov runs him back to the cage and goes to work again with the left hand.
And that takedown attempt allows Nemkov to get in and ride the clock. He's winning this round in my estimation, and now he's on the clock right now, just riding time.
More pressure from Nemkov and the left hand. Russia versus Russia. Bozigit Ataev in the gold trunks, Nemkov in the silver, and that'll do it. That is 2 5-minute quarterfinal rounds. Emiliano Sordi watching that and seeing a couple of guys who just spent a lot of energy to try and earn a spot in the semifinals against him.
Yeah, he put, what, a minute and change worth of work in there. He's going to be rested, recovered, and ready for the next round, while these men are going to need a little more time, and they've spent a lot more energy.
Fight twice, win twice, for whichever man moves on. As we take a look at the Cageonomics here, our final fight stats here. Viktor Nemkov outlanded Bozigit Ataev, but you go back to, should this be judged to draw 1 round apiece, you go back to how the judges saw the overall body of work.
Right, and when we look at the numbers, it would seem as though Nemkov has the most output. And more output seems a lot of times as if you are doing more to finish the fight. And I mean that would make sense, right? So looking at this, that could be where the judges lean, but that first round, potential 10-8? I don't think so.
Take a look at these replays here.
This is the big right hand that Bozigit lands, and Nemkov goes down. Now, I don't believe he was pulling guard from that position. It doesn't look like he was trying to pull guard. And right here, Bozigit tries to finish. I believe he understands that he hurt Nemkov there. And right there, Nemkov looked like he was about to be out. Bozigit couldn't get him out of there, and he was able to sustain his head under this beating. I mean, that's just a real beating that Bozigit put on him. There's the corner. Everybody thought it was over when that head snapped back, but Nemkov is a tough fighter. He was able to get back And in the second round, look at what he's doing. Landing big shots on the outside, and whenever he needed to break, he shot those takedowns.
Incredible recoverability there from Nemkov. That's the takedown from Bozigit Ataev at the end of the first round. You saw those slow motion replays. One punch away from that one being called. And a great job by our referee for not stepping in prematurely, because clearly Nemkov was not finished in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Bozigit hits hard. I've seen him hit people, I've seen them fold, you know, so Nemkov surviving that beating, real good job.
The judges will deliberate here. To me, again, I'm not a judge, but it looks like the first round went to Ataev, the second round clearly to Nemkov, which means these judges will be asked under our tiebreaker rules to pick an overall winner of this fight, if indeed they saw it as a draw. Pride rules, old school rules, schoolyard rules.
And the schoolyard rule may apply here. It may seem to the judges they may remember the end of the fight more significantly than the beginning.
Well, there's a lot of different things that you can figure out. To figure out the winner here, some people will say, who came closer to finishing the fight? Clearly Bozigit Ataev.
Yes.
Who's the fresher fighter when the fight ended? Clearly Nemkov. Who put in more work overall? Well, those Cageonomics told you that Nemkov had the higher output. So, depending on which criteria these judges value, this is a really tough one to call.
It is. I like the finishing the fight criteria. Because that's what we're out there to do, right? You're out there to finish fights. But this one is a hard one to call, especially if it comes down to the tiebreaker rules.
And I think the judges probably agree with that assessment, because it is taking a little bit of time here for them to come to a final conclusion.
But as we look at the men inside the cage, Bozigit is sitting down, trying to recover. Nemkov is walking around. So is that a telltale sign of where their conditioning is after this fight?
Or is that a telltale sign of a guy who's been here before in our season 1 playoffs and knows that it's important to get off your feet as quickly as you can, versus someone who's a PFL newcomer, Nemkov, who's content to wander around the cage waiting for this decision?
So many variables. I love this part of the year.
Also worth considering as we watch the judges deliberate here, which of these men is more prepared to continue for potentially another 3 rounds against Emiliano Sordi? Bozigit Ataev has fought the man already twice. They're one apiece. A win for Ataev in season 1, a win for Sordi in season 2. Will we be getting the rubber match later tonight?
Here's one thing that we do know. Whichever man gets to face Sordi later on tonight, they've spent a lot of energy in the cage just now.
Lillian Garcia has our official decision inside the Smart Cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards, and the bout has been ruled a draw. Therefore, it comes down to a tiebreaker. Each judge has chosen a fighter to advance based on their overall performance. Judge Bell picks Ataev. Judge Rosales picks Nemkov. And Judge Trowbridge picks, advancing to the 2019 semifinals, Bozigit Ataev!
Bozigit Ataev, by the skin of his teeth, advances to a semifinal date later tonight on ESPN2. What are you rewarded with if you beat Viktor Nemkov in the first round in the quarterfinal? A matchup later tonight with Emiliano Sordi. That's what I love about this light heavyweight playoff. A little rubber match, a little trilogy bout. Caroline Pierce has Bozigit Ataev inside the cage.
Thanks, Sean, I do indeed. Bozigit, congratulations. With your head hung, though, as they read the decision. It didn't look like you were confident that it might go your way. How do you feel about the result and your performance in there?
Бозигит, поздравляю вас с победой. Вы выглядели уверенно. Первый раунд вы явно забрали. А как вы считаете, вы выступили сегодня?
Спасибо за поздравления, в первую очередь. Во-вторых, бой пошел не по тому сценарию, как я планировал. Второй бой, второй раунд вообще был не таким ярким, как мне хотелось бы.
First of all, thank you for congratulating me. The fight didn't quite go as I was planning. The second round, I definitely want to go a different way, but overall, I'm glad that I won.
Let's talk about the first round. You knocked down Nemkov, you were landing some heavy punches. It looked like you might get him out of there. Were you surprised that he survived those punches?
Давайте по первому раунду пройдем. В общем, вам дали победу в первом раунде. Но как вы считаете, ваш соперник и вы выступили?
Ну, я считаю, что я из 100%, на которых я мог бы выступить, на 60% оцениваю свое выступление. А противник мой, я хочу сказать, что он очень крепкий парень, и в первом раунде был момент, когда я мог финишировать, но он очень физически крепок и выдерживал мои удары. Почтение мое ему, и благодарю за этот прекрасный бой.
Well, the way I see it, if you put it 100%, my performance was about 60. I had a good moment, but again, my opponent, he's a very strong, he's a very professional guy, so his longevity, that's what really kept him going. But I think overall I could do better.
Well, this sets up a rematch with Emiliano Sordi. Obviously, this fight went 2 rounds. It took a lot out of you. He got out of there within about a minute, pretty quick. How do you feel about the rematch and recovering in time to fight quite a fresh Emiliano Sordi?
Сейчас вы будете, следующий бой будет с Эмилиано Сорди. Он закончил свой бой намного быстрее вас, вы потеряли энергию. Как вы думаете, как вы будете подходить к этому бою?
Во-первых, я постараюсь восстановиться, а там уже бой покажет, чья техника лучше и кто выйдет победителем.
I'll do best in my recovery right now. I'll do, some rest. And of course, it's going to come down to the technique, who's going to be more professional, and we will see. Time will show.
We will indeed. We look forward to seeing you back in here shortly. Congratulations, Bozigit Ataev. Back to you, Sean.
Yeah. Get ready. Listen. What you wanna do? If you don't strike first, that's when they gon' come at you. Yeah. And you know it's true. Don't let your life get worse. Being timid, that ain't cool. Nah.